I have challenged teachers as I travel around to say, show me any textbook, any subject, any grade, any page, and I will show you blatant propaganda meant to transform this nation. Lincoln once said, the philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will become the philosophy of government in the next. We are reaping the consequences of having turned a generation of children over to this new system. It's not too surprising then that UNESCO, in their September 2003 conference on education for a sustainable future, came out and declared 2005 to 2015 the decade of education for sustainable development. You will be hearing this term everywhere you go from now on for the next 10 years. Education for sustainable development. And surprise, surprise, they named UNESCO the lead agency for that effort, who said their goal is to integrate sustainable development into all levels of education in order to promote education as a key agent for change. Now, what does that mean? If you go to the UNESCO's website on education for sustainable development, you will find out the new role of education. They state, Chapter 36 of Agenda 21 embraces all ways in which people learn about the world around them, develop the values and lifestyles, and assume their responsibilities as global citizens to prepare for the future. Now that's why I title my talk, Preparing Our Children for Global Citizenship. It is the right term, it is the right definition for the marketing word, sustainable development. And it encompasses more than just environment, as you've heard so far. They go on to say education is the primary agent of transformation towards sustainable development. At the U.S., at the cost to the taxpayers of quite a bit of a $400,000 grant, I believe it was, we have developed the toolkit for education for sustainable development. And I apologize, I covered up the slide with the box that shows the economy, the society, and the environment as the three parts of this system, as you saw, I think it was Michael Shaw in the three-circle graphic. It says, from the time sustainability was first, sustainable development was first endorsed at the UN General Assembly in '87, again, this document, the parallel concept of education to support sustainable development has been explored. That's a lie. It has been fully embedded in our curriculum in Minnesota since 1968. It's been fully embedded in the curriculum in the entire country since 1994. I'll show you how that works. But they go on to say that it will encompass the 40 chapters of Agenda 21. That is your federal national curriculum, the 40 chapters. Now, chapter 36 deals with education, but it is to encompass the principles contained in all 40 chapters. The toolbox goes on to tell you, by the way, this was written in July 2002, so it's fairly recent. Goes on to tell you that world citizenship is the goal. And world citizenship encompasses the constellation that is all the principles, values, attitudes, and behavior that the people of the world must embrace if sustainable development, i.e. global citizenship, is to be realized. Now, this is a bureaucratic revolution in education. The prime bureaucracy is the U.S. Department of Education, which was instituted in 1979 by President Jimmy Carter as a promise to put the principles of sustainable development in place before the term was coined. But this was the entire purpose of the U.S. Department of Education, now I believe the world's largest employer. Under its direction is the Office of Education Research and Improvement. They oversee the 10 regional education laboratories. You can go to their website and see these are the 10 regions of the U.S., and each region has a director and a directorate to be responsible for each piece. Now, it was the Mid-Continental Regional Education Laboratory, which recently changed their name, that was in charge of putting together the national curriculum. They called it the standards-based movement. This, for instance, is the social studies curriculum that states that it is clear that the dominant social, economic, cultural, and scientific trends that have defined the Western world for 5 centuries is now leading in new directions. What were the ideals that define the Western world? We are now saying that's old business. We're now moving in some new direction. They go on to say the primary purpose of social studies is to help young people develop the ability to make informed and reasoned decisions. Who gets to define informed and reasoned decisions? For the public good as citizens of a culturally diverse, democratic society in an interdependent world. Now, this is all marketing gobbledygook that has real meaning underneath it. Sounds bad to you and I who are a little more in tune than the rest of the world into what this stuff really means. But keep in mind, we spent millions of focused market research to come up with the language to mask the agenda. The agenda is exposed by looking at the curriculum. But first I want to play a little video clip of the senior director of the Mid-Continental Regional Education Laboratory in 1989 as she revealed to the National Governors Association the agenda for education. She's going to list 3 important aspects of what education is about. Listen to for the 3.
It seems to me that far too much of our efforts have been focused on the issue of let's find a short-term fix and fix up these schools and taking care of them, rather than the issue of understanding that what we're into is a total restructuring of the society. What is happening in America today and what is happening in Kansas and the Great Plains is not simply a chance situation in the usual winds of change. What it amounts to is a total transformation of our society. And the issue for most children and the issues for the society is that what has changed in education today is that we no longer see the teaching of facts and information as the primary outcome of education. During the past 10 years, we've been going through a reform movement. And that reform movement began with the governors of the nation, and basically what their concern was that they began to understand the very close relationship between economic development and human capital.
Did you catch the 3 parts? Number 1, the total transformation of society. Number 2, facts and information, knowledge, is no longer the primary purpose of education. And number 3, the close connection between economic, let's call it sustainable development, and human capital, that is labor, human resource labor for a planned economy.